On this edition of the CSXT Video News, taking steps to take care of the environment, a commitment in Nashville. Plus, we'll show you how employees are producing more cost-effective repairs to our locomotive fleet. And an out-of-the-way project shop earns jobs by working with a mission. These stories and more on this edition of the CSXT Video News, November 1992. Hi, and welcome to November's edition of the CSXT Video News. I'm Renee Brust. We're here today in Grand Rapids, Michigan to take a look at a project shop that really knows how to turn out a product, both efficiently and safely. But first, let's take a detour to Waycross, Georgia, where a new business concept is helping make CSXT more competitive. In this day and age, competition is the name of the game. You either compete and win, or you fade away. CSXT is here to win.
This is 1992. This isn't 1970. The competition out there, not only from other railroads, but from the trucking industry and all, has really put a hurt on our industry. And if we don't show that we can move these products, then we're going to lose our work.
In order to survive in today's rapidly changing environment, the people who are going to be able to survive that are the companies that can execute difficult changes quickly.
One of those difficult changes is in the works right now, system-wide in all the locomotive shops. It's called the Extended Shift Program, and it's designed to dramatically reduce the amount of time locomotives spend in the shop. This is accomplished by adding a third shift. It increases the time and craftsmen available to work on a locomotive. So now both locomotive shops in Waycross have 7-day operations.
The 92-day maintenance line, or commonly referred to as the Q line, is now working 20 shifts a week in lieu of 10 shifts a week, which we did for years and years here.
We can be more cost effective with this type of repair without compromising quality and without compromising safety.
The added shifts have helped running repair become more cost effective.
And we've been successful in reducing the out-of-service count on our locomotive fleet from the 11% range down into the low 7s and sometimes in the 6% range.
In standard repair, a locomotive can be out of service for much longer, but the Extended Shift Program in Waycross has cut detention time in half, from 55 days to 25 days.
This is just one program. This is just one shop. Think of the competitive edge it can give us across the system when we work more shifts and turn these locomotives around with less detention time.
As long as we have engines in the shop under standard repair, they're sitting here idle and not on the line making money. As soon as we can get those engines out on the line, pulling revenue and meeting our customers' demand, that's going to cause business to come into us, and it's going to secure our jobs here.
While detention time is improving, adding more shifts does mean changing employee schedules, and it isn't easy.
People who were typically on a first shift job now are on second and third shift jobs. Some who had Saturdays and Sunday rest days now have rest days in the middle of the week. That is difficult. It's difficult on families. Schedules have to be altered, but it's our job.
It's going to be hard. We didn't say it's not going to be easy. It's going to be hard. It's going to get some getting used to, but I think and overall the men will meet the demand.
If a person's not used to working third shift, of course they're going to be, their biological clock is going to be off. And it takes time to get used to it, but they just have to learn how to get the proper rest and keep safety on mind at all times.
Round-the-clock service 7 days a week. The Extended Shift Program will keep CSXT focused on beating out our competition.
Our system-wide goal is to make detention time as small as we can possibly make it. We don't know where that ultimately will take us, but it's our obligation to keep locomotives out on the road pulling our customers' freight.
It's got to be the can-do attitude. It's got to be, we want our railroad work, we want our locomotive work, we want to keep it, and we'll do whatever's necessary to keep it.
The Nashville Locomotive Shop has called this roundhouse home for 80 years. And to celebrate their anniversary, the shop is busy preparing for the future by cleaning up and protecting the environment. This wastewater treatment project started in March.
There's two components. There's the collection system, and then there's the treatment of that collected water.
We want our community, Nashville, to see that CSX is a good citizen.
In the past, untreated stormwater from the shop spilled into Browns Creek. This creek runs through the city.
Browns Creek has received a continual small amount of oil from our stormwater, and it's caused some problems with the water quality, problems with aquatic life, and this project will eliminate the problem.
The first step was to dig out the area behind the roundhouse and pour fresh concrete.
Anybody that had ever been in Nashville knows that this area behind the roundhouse was probably almost useless parking space. Now we have an area that on pretty days we can have people out here working if we want to.
No more gritty sand also means there's less chance of tripping and more room for work.
We can change batteries outside. You never could do that before. In fact, we wouldn't even bring a forklift in this area because it'd get hung up every time we brought it out.
In addition, the concrete makes it easier to route stormwater into a collection center.
This is the construction site of the new wastewater treatment facility that will be treating stormwater that flows out of the shop area.
The facility removes sand, grit, and oil from the water before it flows into Browns Creek. This twofold project will prevent further pollution, but this isn't the only environmental success here at CSXT.
We've reduced the number of permit exceedances at our facilities system-wide, and we've also reduced the amount of petroleum spillage at all of our facilities. These are two major components of the environmental picture that we are trying to improve upon, and every individual can help contribute to that.
With environmental quality teams, employees are also learning to protect their environment.
I see people more conscious about the environment now than I did 2 years ago. So it's a steady growing concern about what we're going to leave our children and our grandchildren.
Nashville is just one example of many facilities that CSX is looking at to try and do similar type of projects to improve its overall operations. It's not only a commitment from the mechanical department, but the company as a whole.
Correcting problems from the past and investing in the future. CSXT says happy 80th to the Nashville Locomotive Shop. Here's our first story from around the system. Mechanical Operations now has a new headquarters for training. The training center celebrated its opening on October 8th.
Everybody smile and suck it in. It was very good teamwork amongst all of the departments in Atlanta, the transportation, maintenance away, and mechanical, to help us get into this larger facility so we can do a better job training our car repairmen and others across the system.
The facility offers more training rooms, an assembly room, and equipment for hands-on demonstrations. It's here that the emphasis on craftsman training will continue.
Even in a real down year with tight budget controls, and we're all looking for ways to cut back on our expenses, we have not cut back on training.
Classes give craftsmen an opportunity to refresh their skills and keep up with new technology.
It's really an intense time to really brush up so we can go back, do our job correctly, do it safely, do it better than we ever did before.
Chicago Car Shop Safety Director Lane Blondell will head up an employee team to develop the 1993 Employee Safety Certification for mechanical operations.
Certification is pretty much going to be the same. It's going to be a video with a test and everything, but the difference is there's not going to be strictly questions asked on rules. It's going to be questions on situations, certain programs we've gone through.
Train the Trainer starts in December, and for the first time, craftsmen will coordinate the entire certification process.
We're the experts. Management has put their faith in us. We're the ones out there every day doing the job. They're putting their faith in us that we can do it and we can accomplish it.
How many times have you gone out of your way for really great service? Well, CSXT does that every time they bring a project here to the shop in Grand Rapids, Michigan. As you can see, location isn't everything. When you get good service, you keep going back, no matter how far you have to go. And that's why this project shop in Grand Rapids keeps on working. Employees here remain focused on the mission of mechanical operations, producing quality cars efficiently and safely.
We have a good program here. It's called Team Concept. We have no bench warmers, and this year we've made a commitment, and each person has made a commitment to go home injury-free, and we're seeing it.
Hey, we just basically realize that you don't have to have injuries. We just refuse to have them anymore.
It's that kind of resolve that has earned this shop over 3 years injury-free.
Safety is a way of life here, and whatever car comes in the line, we're going to do it the safest possible way that can be thought of.
But safety isn't the only goal this crew has in their daily performance. Quality workmanship also keeps the projects coming in.
If you're not willing to sign your name to the work that you've done, then you're not doing something right.
Everything that we do is inspected by the carman on the line and plus the inspector before it leaves Grand Rapids, and it doesn't leave unless it's done right.
We've always had a reputation in Grand Rapids through the years of doing quality work, and I think that we hope that continues to carry over.
But if you focus on safety and quality, where does production fall in line? Currently, employees here are turning out coiled steel gondolas, but this is just one project of many. Since 1987, Grand Rapids has worked on everything from cabooses to freight cars to grain cars. In every project, productivity is key. A deadline is a deadline.
We're doing all the safety work, the head end work, ripping out all the old wood and putting new wood in.
You know, we got, what, 13 or 14 more cars to do this week, you know, and we got to meet that goal. So we trying hard as we can to meet it.
Everybody here knows that if whatever they send us, we can depart. And they leave us alone and we'll put it out.
That can-do attitude is what gives this shop its biggest asset. Employees here are willing to commit to teamwork and to each other. That commitment also includes management.
Well, we may go at it differently at times, but we have the same goal in mind. We both realize that, and it's only for the betterment of Grand Rapids.
We have a great relationship, and we have men in management no more. Is strictly do we have a problem in the team.
When management and labor communicate, barriers to safety, quality, and productivity can be overcome. And in Grand Rapids, Michigan, they've overcome another barrier, the barrier of location.
Well, it's a matter of survival. These days, if you don't produce and you don't work safely and you don't have quality, do a quality job, you're out of it.
Yes, I feel like we have earned our work here. I feel like that as long as we meet production schedule on time here in Grand Rapids, we will be working, and we stay injury-free, we will be working.
Well, that's it for this edition of the CSXT Video News. Until next...
Free. Labor, Lester Blakely, 37 years injury-free.
My name is Paul Henning. I'm the storekeeper, 37 years injury-free.
Ralph Whitney, report clerk, 37 years injury-free.
Ray Scouten, lead inspector, 39 years injury-free.
Elaine Kniff, report clerk, 30 years injury-free.
Al Egler, stock clerk, 36 years injury-free.